All right, everyone. I got the red button of liveness. Happy New Year! It's the Data Center News Show, and I am back here with my friends, and we're going to be talking. What are we talking about today? Oh, the AI race. And we're talking about everybody's deploying AI, what's happening in the world, and all these other great things. But before we get started, I'll let everybody introduce themselves, and I'll start. I'm Amy Palvido. I am the CEO of Facilimax, and I lead this cast of characters every week. And we just have a good old time talking data center stuff. And I'll let our newest guest go first. Hey, Richard, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hello. Hey, everybody. My name is Richard Young, and so I'm the AI enterprise architect. I work for a food and beverage distribution company in Chicago. We distribute like beer and Coca-Cola and also McDonald's products, and it's a global company and have been trying to help the architect the AI solutions with our company. Yeah.
That's awesome. Welcome. And he's a Boilermaker. Go Boilers. Which is awesome. All right, Marty, your turn.
Hey, Marty Renkes. I'm with Johnson Controls. I'm on the infrastructure as a service side, and we help data centers get up to speed quicker with less cost and less risk.
Awesome. And
Joshua Feinberg from the Data Center Sales and Marketing Institute. I also host the Data Center Go-To-Market podcast, and I work with sales, marketing, and go-to-market professionals across the data center industry that want to do a better job of educating and building trust.
Awesome. And Sean showed up. Hey, Sean, Happy New Year.
Hey, everyone. Happy New Year. Sean Farney, JLL, data center evangelist, part-time.
Evangelist. You always come up with the coolest names, man. He's a evangelist.
And I'm the sayer of sooth of NVIDIA data center infrastructure doomsaying, which is a weekly topic now. I've had a lot of I bet you Martin has comments on this too. Had a few calls in the last couple of days. Hey, are chillers going away? That's the type of fun that I love to talk about.
Our chillers going away.
Well, Jensen says they're going
away. Jensen said.
Oh, because of the Vera Rubin thing? Yeah.
Hot water.
We'll see. All right, before we get going, we'll let the last guest speak. Hey, Curtis.
Happy New Year, everybody. Curtis Friesen with Victaulic. We manufacture mechanical pipe fittings, but we also have a liquid direct cooling package with a bunch of our valves and hoses and gaskets and fittings and a whole bunch of stuff that is cooling all these AI data centers. And we're officially launching that within the next few weeks, but it's out there. We've deployed a few hundred megawatts and it's pretty cool. I'm also involved with the International Data Center Authority and happy to be here again. Amy, thanks for having me.
Yes, for sure. So the announcement is, the first we're going to start is, my first grandbaby is about to be born today.
Oh,
and the mom, yes, my first one. His name is River. And she's just gone in. She's at the hospital now. So we're going to have this show. And then I'm going to go grab my other kid who's at school. And we're going to head up to the hospital. So best wish to everybody. Have prayers for everything to go well. But she seems to be doing fine. She was in a car accident. And that's why we had to start this process a little early. And I was like all worried that I was going to be at PTC and I was going to have a grandbaby and I was going to miss it. But it worked out. So she was nice enough to do this early for me. I guess I'm just kidding. Talking about PTC, everybody excited? Everybody ready to go? Looking forward to the parties?
We're doing it again.
No? Sean is going, no.
I'm already tired.
Yeah.
You're already.
If your year been that busy already, Sean, that's great.
It's bonkers this year. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Great. Can't complain. We're all blessed.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, all the data center conferences are going crazy. I can't imagine what's going to happen in this year's at Hawaii. I heard last year was a large conference. So we'll see. We shall see where it goes. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I've got my data center show schedule right here on my other screen, and it is 53 lines deep.
Wow.
That's well, I'm not
How
going to all of
many
them, but
conferences you're going to go to?
I'm not going to all of those. No.
Oh, okay. I was
Those are
like,
just
that's crazy town.
just how many are going on
Some frequent flyer
Oh.
miles.
this year
Yeah.
that I'm aware of anyway. I'm sure there's
Yeah.
even more than
That's crazy.
what
Yeah,
a time
no,
to be alive.
it is. It's a fun time to be in the industry for sure. All right, let's talk about the topic. I want to start us off about the AI race, obviously, but Perplexity CEO, I'll start it off with what he's talking about. So he put out a thing that data centers they're not going to be needed anymore because everything's going to be on your iPhone and all on the edge devices. So we're not going to need data centers anymore.
Oh, great.
Yeah, exactly.
Hallucinations.
And I was thinking, he's the CEO of Perplexity, and I'm like sitting there going,
Sounds like he is a little bit perplexed.
yeah.
A little bit. And maybe shouldn't be talking about such things.
I know. So I just like going, what? Like, what? This is like doesn't make any sense. Maybe I don't know. I mean, I guess our edge device. I mean, that doesn't make any sense to me. That doesn't make any lick of sense to me at all. I think we need all the compute we can get wherever it shows up, right? That's just me, but I don't know. All right, so we have a Richards in the house, and Richard's my buddy, and we met. Richard, when did we meet? Like a couple years ago.
Last year, I think.
Yeah, because we're makers. Go Boilers. And Richard leads AI transformation at Reyes Holdings. And so where are you at? What are your challenges? What are you facing at Reyes?
Okay, I think last year we're probably talking mostly, I'm more on the user side, not on the data center side.
Right.
But probably since last year, everybody's talking about the AI agent. And so for my course, what I'm focused on is really just to make sure that because AI technology evolves so quickly and fast, and so whichever that we did, like the beginning of last year versus the end of last year, quite dramatically changes. And so from the architecture perspective, I kind of need to realign and then think about how do we deploy our AI strategy. We started a very deterministic workflow type of AI agent. So it's like, step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with the AI agent now. And now we're moving to the autonomous one. And tied up to the data center. And we started to expose from like structured data to unstructured data. And so that's a huge amount of data that needed for the data center. And also there's a latency, something constraint to it. So there's just a lot of consideration, security, governance, everything that they need to ensure to push the AI solutions to the production. That's a totally different game changer. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So are you all on the cloud, or how are you doing? How are you a hybrid? How are you doing you're managing your stuff? Because you're in like how many countries? So 70?
He's doing it all from his iPhone.
It's exactly. He's doing it all from his iPhone because the Perplexity CEO says we can do it on our iPhone.
No, we are mostly still doing it on the cloud. We don't have a lot of edge devices going there, but that's a lot. The more the long term goal. We have a lot of warehouse, centers have like photo camera monitoring for that, but we're not ready to process those information. So mostly right now, all the agents are still on the cloud. And you still need to access the language model. And so there are some things that are really, really hard to do it on the premise at this point.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. The other thing on the data center side too, I find interesting, especially for you, it's cool to have like a end user on the show because we usually have, the other folks, but especially since you're multinational, how do you manage your data sovereignty, and does that come into play on what solutions you're choosing from on the data center side?
Yeah, so we kind of, because our company is more traditional company, so we don't have a lot of tech resources. The way that we manage is we partner with another AI platform. And so they will mostly manage the resource and scalability, reliability on them. But we gave them requirements saying that this is what we requested to be, and then let them handle that piece.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, very cool. All right, so let's talk about traditional AI race. Thanks, Richard. And stick around, please. And we had Sean's clock go off, which is always, I enjoyed that. I look forward to that as every
analog, baby.
Analog. This is every
Yeah.
part of every show. When Sean's on, Sean's clock goes off. It's awesome. It's great. So let's talk about how are we going to get the compute, whatever it looks like. So Richard can do all of the things that Richard wants to do with his stuff. How are we? So is Edge out leading? Is it what's the moving driver on this one? And what are you seeing, Sean? I'll kick it off to you. What are you seeing as far as how we're going to be the fastest way to speed delivery? What are we doing on the speed delivery?
So speed to revenue. My default answer is adaptive reuse. Got a bunch of clients who are returning to adaptive reuse, which is the original technique of building data centers, which is repurposing industrial assets. There's a lot of, particularly in the Great Lakes, kind of industrial Great Lakes, Midwest area, there's a lot of paper plants and steel mills and those type of facilities that have pretty decent stranded power, good bones, and have some of the other site selection check boxes checked in. We're seeing the role of time to revenue become more and more important, particularly with the neo clouds. I can think of a couple different neo cloud providers who exclusively use an adaptive reuse model. Sometimes you get the bonus of a fairly robust and well-maintained chiller plant, which makes the integration with liquid cooling not so bad. Retrofit costs, don't quote me on it, but I would say retrofit costs are very conservatively and safely $5 million a megawatt, which sounds expensive until you look at what the all-in costs around acquiring land, greenfield build, entitlement, regulation, blah, 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 waiting a couple of years for equipment. So if you can come into a facility, spend a few $1 million per megawatt to retrofit it and have that done in 6 to 9 months, and then get that to revenue, which with GPU densities of, let's say it's 180 kW plus E conservatively, you can get numbers on the board quickly, not spending too much money and get going. And in the neo cloud segment in particular, that's very, very important to get revenue production starting pretty quickly in less than a year, because that space is still very competitive.
John, I have a question for you. How small have you seen these neo clouds look at? I've been talking to a bunch of them as well. I'm pretty surprised at how small they're willing to go.
Yeah.
They've got facility and power ready to go.
This is interesting, and I'll even extend it out to GPUs as a service, which is another pretty hot segment. So GPUs as a service can make a lot of money, can make a 30% IRR on a megawatt.
Wow.
And that number scales. So you can get the same numbers if you go up in size. So GPU as a service, where you kind of rent GPU cycles by the hour. That's a growing business. There's a network of very small providers in the US at least. That's an opportunity for someone to grab all of that. And then the next step up is there's a long list of customers today who need 5 to 10 megawatts of single tenant GPU compute, who can't get into CoreWeave and Vultr and some of the other providers who have a pretty high barrier to entry. You got to be a 50 megawatt plus customer inside a 5-year deal. So there's a underserved segment around built infrastructure that involves GPU densities, and that's an opportunity, and the way to capitalize on that quickly is either retrofit existing facility, and there's a lot of that business, particularly all these enterprise data centers that are sitting empty that we've been moving their stuff off to the cloud for the last 15 years, and these other industrial assets which aren't so big necessarily, already have fiber, already have power, and you can get to revenue in less than a year. So that's a pretty exciting part of what's going on right now. And and I was the founder of an edge data center company. I struggled. I tried not to use the term edge anymore because no one knows what the hell it means. So I just avoid it.
It keeps moving. The edge keeps moving.
We've been trying to define it for over a decade, and it changes every day.
Right. So we just need more data everywhere in lots of different sizes. So some exciting stuff going around in regard to GPU specific buildouts.
Yeah, for sure. I talked with a guy that is at Dell, and I talked to him yesterday, and he was talking about how on the enterprise side, like what Richard's trying to do, it is interesting for them. Like they have certain needs, and they want certain deployment models, and some want to bridge or dip their toe into how we're going to deploy AI, and they have different use cases, and it is kind of an interesting time. So is the smaller AI inferencing site, is it a bridge to something bigger, or is it that's just the max amount they're going to do, or does anybody know yet? Does anyone know? I mean, Richard, how much compute do you want, Richard? And I've got 10 megawatts. Can I sell it to you? Do you want 10 megawatts of AI compute?
Got it. I got a whole bunch of people that'll buy that, Amy. If you got a
/megawatt marketplace.
Yes, exactly.
Wait, let's open the bidding first, Amy.
Exactly. I know. It's all going to go open for bidding. Yeah, exactly. What are you looking? How are you looking to scale your stuff, Richard? Where do you think it goes for you?
Yeah, we really depend on the use cases, right? Because we want to be budget conscious. We're more end user, so usually those charges by the usage, right? And so for the complex generic ones, like large ones, that we would use the cloud. But for like specialized, now we're kind of developing the specialized agent. So they're only doing one specific agent tasks that really good. And so those are the ones that you can limit the number of data sets and then let them just specialize one thing for that. And we kind of gone through the generic version of the big giant one agent rule it all to the multiple ones. I think right now the multiple agent rules better. And so it really depends on the use cases, and cost is lesser our concern now. I think a lot of our AI agents are still just prototype to the production. And I think at some point we'll have a bigger, larger scale. And I think that will be showing the effect because we will be a lot more business user using that.
Yeah.
I'll add on to that. I've been working with a state that has state-owned properties and 70 properties. And we're talking to people that are fine doing 1, 2, 5 megawatts. So it's fascinating to see the shift, exactly what Sean, you were saying. It's like adaptive reuse, find the pocket of power and get something up fast. And it's been insane. So, I mean, even as small as 1 megawatt, which is not what people were talking about 6 months ago.
So is it realistic on an adaptive reuse, depending on how you're cooling? I got 2 cooling people on here. How you're going to have to build out the cooling. Is it realistic to say that you could probably be up in 6 to 9 months reusing a site and putting up 5 megawatts? Or is that too short of a time frame?
If you have the gear, I can get a megawatt up in 9 months, like no problem.
Elon Musk built the first phase of Colossus in 90 days, was it?
It's insanity. That's crazy. Memphis.
Well, I don't have Elon Musk money. So, yeah.
We need to get one of the generator company. I've heard generator is 18 months, 9 to 18 months at this point.
Excuse me. It was 122 days. Excuse me. Way longer.
Right.
Yeah. I heard lately generators are the limiting
generators.
Factor.
Yeah. So the backup power systems might be the long lead time in that kind of scenario. Interesting.
If you're using traditional generators,
Yeah, chillers are not too bad on lead time. I mean, depends, if you're a big customer, you end up at the top of the queue, but chillers are okay.
Yeah.
This adaptive reuse theme has been around a while. I think about it as like it could be 8 or 10 years ago when Compass was first talking about the Sears headquarters. And Amy, you and I talked about this like last year,
Yes.
the idea of shopping malls, and you
Yes.
ruled it out because you said their slabs aren't thick enough. They can't.
Right.
Yeah, they're good for
They're
putting racks
fine.
of,
They work
shirts.
fine.
Sean wouldn't know anything about that.
No,
I tried to sell Crosby that Sears building in 2012. It just took a while. Actually, malls work pretty well. They aren't. The structural is an issue sometimes, but malls work pretty good because the fiber's always good, the power's good, all the other heat mapping things are good for an AI data center. It's actually a great play, and they're super cheap right now.
I had someone on the podcast a couple of weeks ago.
So let's talk about it.
I was going to say I had someone on that was talking about Bitcoin going into these rural areas with the adaptive reuse. He was in the company's OBM, the company's based in Baltimore. And the way he was describing it, it almost sounded like the Billy Joel song from the 80s, living here in Allentown, closing all the factories down. And what he liked is a lot of the smaller like AI factory Bitcoin miner colo companies he's working with were very capital constrained, and they were bringing these rural areas back from the valley of economic death, and they're getting tremendous deals on this. So I imagine GPU as a service companies show up, neo cloud providers come up that have a lot more capital at their disposal. They're faster.
And the Bitcoin miners aren't making the money they used to make.
They want to go into AI.
3 weeks ago, is that at one point it was the largest Bitcoin miner under one roof in the United States, and toward their facility, which is just mind blowing how big it was. But each one of those machines used to print money, and now they're thinking about break even or losing money. So they're looking at where they're going to go. And they've got the power. It's there.
Yeah, that is. I think they talked about that, like reusing those. That makes sense. That's easy. That's an easy reuse case, right? Just flip it out. I mean, you have to change the cooling though, don't you? I mean, they're not cooled. They're not cooled the same way. So you're gonna have to figure. But that's an easier than anything else. Just switch them over.
It's a totally different application, but
Totally.
That's a model that's been becoming pretty popular. Is that these miners like Cipher Mining and Core Scientific and Northern Data, they're sitting on loads of compute, and they're pivoting their business model over to AI and HPC, and somewhat rebuilding or modifying the infrastructure, because those are now mission critical applications. A mining site, you could turn it off. And in fact, they would do it on purpose sometimes if the hash rate made sense to sell the power back to the grid, or if the servers got too hot, they just turn them off for a little bit, let them cool off, and then they turn them back on. Right? That's not a mission critical application, but it is. The model itself makes sense because these are now publicly traded companies, and they're being governed by board of directors and shareholders. And they're probably like, maybe let's do a little bit more than just mine Bitcoin, and use some of this compute for other stuff. And it's a business hedge. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, no, for sure. All right, so part of the AI race is the power race, and I wanted to bring this topic up about how Pennsylvania, and Sean, you were there, weren't you invited to go speak to some folks? They have a pretty unique approach to what they're trying to do as far as being expeditious with how the power is figured out, or whatever it might be. I don't know. I think Texas should look at Pennsylvania and what they're trying to do. That's just my little 2 cents there. But I think Texas is trying, and they're just behind the 8 ball. But do you know what Pennsylvania is really doing other than being a little more judicious about it, or how are they approaching it? Do you know?
So the conference, it wasn't a conference, this shindig I was at in November, maybe it was, both the governor, Ben Shapiro, and Senator Dave McCormick were there. Pennsylvania has gotten very high level municipal or government support because with the AI Action Plan for America, bringing that private-public partnership together. They saw the opportunity. First, every state is seeing the business opportunity for data centers, for sure. So, given that, I think they are ahead because they from very early on jumped in from the executive level of government to do everything from a regulatory perspective they can, just to make it easier for data center companies to come in and operate. Data center companies are good at the tech; they're not good at the bureaucracy and the administration, the regulatory. That's what state government is good at. So if state government is willing to say, "Hey, we're going to help with that. We're going to let you do the tech," that's the model, and it seems to be working very, very well for Pennsylvania. I was impressed by how much buy-in the government has for data centers there, and they've got good academics. So Carnegie Mellon is doing great work in both AI and robotics. There were these humanoid robots walking around all over the place. It was cool, but kind of strange at the same time. They've got the academic, they've got the government, they've got great power infrastructure. And it's a varied power infrastructure. There's nuclear, nat gas, and traditional. So they've got a lot of good things going for them, as well as a lot of abandoned industrial sites, Alcoa and others. I can think of 3 different adaptive use projects that NeoClouds have come in and purchased facilities to refresh them and revamp them, and the local communities love that. There was a comment earlier around kind of refilling abandoned industrial sites or industrial 2.0. That's a great, with all the NIMBY going on now for greenfield builds, adaptive reuse has the benefit of kind of refreshing the job pool and tax base and avoiding a lot of that negative stuff. So it's a great form. They'd be a good case study. Here's what you do to encourage data center development.
Right.
For sure, right? For sure. And then you got on the other spectrum where you have Ron DeSantis and Bernie Sanders going, "We want a data center moratorium." Like, I don't get it. And it's around this idea of the electricity rates have rise, like they're rising. And so, they rose like in 5% in 2025, and they're set to rise another 4% in 2026. So 9% more you're paying for electricity on your bill. And obviously the data centers are the reason why, and therefore we need to stop our data. Like, seriously, like, first of all, President Trump ain't going to stop the train. So, like, get over yourself, whatever.
I don't think it has anything to do with our aging infrastructure or the electrification of the country as a whole. So.
Right. No, not at all. That we haven't really upgraded. I don't think that the grid was ready. Obviously, the grid wasn't ready. It clearly wasn't ready in 2021 when we had snowpocalypse in Texas. It wasn't ready for that either. So, but where do we're not going to get it. This NIMBYism or moratoriums, no one feels any pressure or concern about moratoriums on data centers. Anybody worried?
It'll just shift to Pennsylvania, right? I'm worried about NIMBYism because now it's very organized. A couple developments have been stalled in Wisconsin, but they just moved to other places in Wisconsin. The industry needs to do better marketing because the stuff that's being used for pushback is outdated information about impact to water and, like you said, electrical rates and things like that. And data centers are great for communities in a lot of different ways. And once we start telling that story effectively, it's a great business idea to form a data center pack around public relations and communication marketing. Which is a different discussion. But I'm not worried about it. I just think it's kind of short-sighted, and it'll penalize some of these places that could really use the tax base increase in jobs.
Yeah, we're working with 2 distressed cities that are thrilled to death to have these NeoClouds come in. They're like, "How fast can you come in? Please, here's the red carpet. What can we do for you?" So, and I'm obviously many places in the country that aren't that way at all. But some of these distressed cities, they need jobs. They need a tax base. They want water usage. There's a lot of good for some municipalities.
Yeah.
There's so much
Mention
misinformation out there.
The incredible tax benefits that go directly to the public school systems. I mean, I'm always going to be using Loudoun County as a case study on this show because it's such a brilliant example of how beneficial data centers can be to a community. $1 billion a year of tax revenue, 40 cents on the dollar goes to public schools. That's all happened in the last 20 years in Loudoun County. Because 20 years ago, they didn't have any money at all. And now they're the best schools in the country. And the lowest of individual tax rate because they have a surplus every year of $250 million.
Exactly. Right. Maybe they'll like not tax anyone. I don't know. There's a the only thing I can equate it to, this is like a weird thing, but there's this little town community in Colorado and they have casinos. And the sales tax revenue from those casinos allows the town to repaint everybody's house every year. And they do it. They repaint everybody's house because they have so much freaking money in the town that they don't know what to do with it. So they just repaint people's houses. Like, it's like kind of similar, right? It's just like, we got all this money. We can do parks. We can do this. We can do that. We can bring in Disneyland. Like, who cares? We got a crap ton of money. And I don't know why anybody would turn that away. Like, I don't get it. Like, if you're so concerned about utility rates, then supplement everybody, pay for everybody's electric bill. You're sitting on a pile of cash, man. Like, do whatever. I don't get it. That's just me. That's crazy town. All right. So we're going to talk about the last one I want to talk about, which is the AI race. And I posted an article about this, about how China, like whoever leads on the AI side, it will get to set standards. They'll get to do a lot of different things around AI and what it looks like. And so us as a country as a whole, I think AI is core to our national security, right? But we have China who's outproducing us on research and development, and they're also faster with permitting and different things like that. Is that a concern? Are we concerned that somehow, I mean, as far as their model deployments and ours, they're almost at parity. So does that become a concern from us in the data center industry in the U.S. as a whole, or is it nothing we should be concerned about? I think it is, but that's just me. Am I crazy?
No, you still have K-12 teachers vilifying using AI in school. Start with like modernizing the curriculum to catch up to the 2010s at least.
Yeah.
No, look, this is the same conversation that was being had a few years ago about 5G, and China was winning, and I think they did, right? I think what it's going to come down to deployment of SMRs, and that's what's going to win the race. Is when we're going to be able to get nuclear power on site, and that's going to allow us to not just catch up, but also like set the pace and win.
Interesting. Yeah. So our what I see on the research and development side is that China is like outpacing us 2-to-1. They're graduating more students, like 3-to-1 STEM students than we are. And so from a how are we competing on a global scale? Is it concerning that the U.S. is not it's leading technically from an investment and development side, but China's pretty close? Do we think it's, or is it everybody should have data centers and it's great for the industry and it doesn't matter who's leading? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Here's a question also. Is NVIDIA still allowed to sell to China? They are, right?
No. Well, not the newest ones, right?
Yeah, it's a reduced processor.
Yeah. So is that just forcing innovation on China? Like, you know how like the creativity that comes from constraints? Like if you have that, it's so I don't know. Richard, you want to jump in?
Yeah, I think it's actually when people have less resources, they become creative, and that's what I see from the modeling perspective from China, right? Because they don't have enough CPU power to boost it, but they find another way to do it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is it a lot of the research and development around that too? I think.
Correct. Yeah.
From a humanitarian standpoint too, I mean, everybody in the world should have access to data, right?
Right.
It makes life much easier. In fact, I think even in one of the articles you sent, Amy, that was one of the quotes is that this is the new oil. AI is the new oil, and it's much bigger because everybody needs information, access to information. That's why it's a multi-trillion-dollar industry now.
That's why UAE and Saudi Arabia want to pivot from the oil business to the AI business.
Very, very true. Very true. Yeah, talk about a cooling need. Go start. I mean, they're already starting, right? But go start building data centers in Riyadh and Dubai, right?
Here's the quote from CNBC from Samir Dalakia. He's a partner at Bessemer Venture Partners. He says that AI, this is the largest market in the history of mankind. This is larger than oil because everyone on the planet needs intelligence.
True. It's very true.
Are you saying we're not smart enough, Curtis? Is that what you're saying?
We're too smart.
Following a lot of the news from CES this week, it looks like one of the dominant themes, following up on Jensen Huang's talk was physical AI this week.
Oh yeah.
Robots.
Yeah.
Tractors controlled by AI, cars controlled by AI.
Exactly. Like, how do you think we're going to get a data center in space if we don't have robots swapping out the blades, man? Like, it's going to have something up there, right?
The robot is the new edge data center.
There you go. That's it.
There's a quote.
We defined it again. Redefined edge today.
The robot. Yes.
You guys finally defined it. You got it.
Yes.
I was joking with the Carnegie Mellon guys about this, but a humanoid robot can store petabytes of data locally, and it's got high bandwidth comms. So I think we're going to have humanoid, movable data center robots in our houses in a few years, and it's going to be glorious.
I know. I just want one that'll get my kid up for school and like somehow motivate him. Like the Jensen's, like the little thing where it's like you're on the what's the walking carpet or whatever it's called, and it dresses my child and gets him up and brushes his teeth and all that stuff and kicks him out and gets him to go to school. He's like, God, preteen, man. All y'all want to do is sleep. All these boys want to do is sleep. They're driving me nuts. I swear. I'm like, get out of the house and go to school. That would be great. That's what I want.
You need to build your
Wake
own
up robot.
I know. Too funny. All right, so predictions. It's 2026. It's prediction time. Pull out your crystal balls. We're going to talk about data center industry and AI in 2026. What are we going to see other than, humanoid robots? What else are we going to see realistically this year? What are we going to see? Marty, go first.
Yes. So what I've seen, I think the first thing is what we already talked about on the show and that Sean brought up is this adaptive reuse and these neo clouds where we're going to move away from the larger and larger and larger sites to these smaller and smaller sites. And I think that's going to be a gigantic trend. I'm sure everybody here would agree with modularity. I mean, we're going to be definitely going to go more modular because we need to adapt to this new tech. Every time Jensen comes up on stage, we're like, okay, now what do I do? How am I cooling? What's my physical space look like? What's my power requirements look like? So I think the modularity is going to be a big play as well. And certainly on-site power. That would be my third thing. And nukes for sure, Curtis. We're going to go that way. And fuel cells, turbines, recips are still going in like crazy. And I'm working on a gigantic battery project. I mean, so this on-site power is insatiable because finding that power is getting so hard.
Yeah.
Those are my three.
Awesome. Joshua?
I think we're going to see a lot more consolidation. There was just a story on LinkedIn trending this morning talking about how the M&A is going to accelerate even into the mid-market now. And I think it's a combination of two things. One is throughout the data center industry, people are prioritizing speed to market. And it's a lot easier to do that when 2, 3, 4 companies are coming together on one roof, capital access, complexity of self-driven buyer's journeys. There's a whole host of factors that are strongly arguing for a lot of smaller companies coming together and becoming mid-market companies, and a lot more mid-market companies absorbing into more enterprise kind of companies.
And they're not just buying other data center companies, right? Because Google bought Intersect, right? And they just build infrastructure. They build power infrastructure. So they were like, all right, well, let's take that part out of the vertical chain. That's awesome. Yeah, no, I agree. All right, Sean, your turn.
Data center robots. I've got my first client testing data center robots
Cool.
starting this month. It's amazing what they can do. They're very accessible. I will coin or try to coin or push the first 2026 buzz term in the data center industry: investment super cycle. That's what JLL is calling the next 4 years. $3 trillion of spend in the space. Investment super cycle. We heard it here first.
Exactly.
Just continued extreme hyperbole. And thanks to Jensen for kicking that off this year with the talk of chillerless data centers. In more real or pragmatic and maybe hopeful, continuing on Curtis's quotes or comments around SMRs. If we see execution of the provision in the AI America's action plan that allows private companies to leverage the nuclear fuel stockpile that the U.S. keeps in strategic reserve to accelerate deployment of SMRs.
Yep.
This will be the biggest development in data centers for many, many years, and it will rocket us to the top by a long shot. So I am hoping for this. That's written into the action plan, and there's some companies that are trying to leverage that for use in small quantities. So that could be very exciting.
Very cool. Richard.
Yeah, I definitely see the data explosions from the application, like implementation perspective. We started to expose our data into like 10 times, 100 times, just because we're using AI to discover something that it hasn't discovered before. And I think this year we'll probably see a lot more AI company consolidation for that as well. And we deal with a lot of like small company previously. Now I think it's so to see everybody's consolidate to a bigger one. Yeah. And yeah.
So is it so the compute necessitates the need for the data storage, and then the data storage, like then it's like a perpetual cycle, right? The more data you get, the more compute you can do, the more compute you can do, the more data you make.
Yeah, I think so. And one thing I think one of the things that enable physical AI is that they bring the compute closer to the source of the data, right? And so you process the data very quickly at the very end of the edge devices. And so I think what continue again. So I think the need for data is there. The need of compute is there. The media power is there. But, we'll probably just distribute it into different places. It's probably not a centralized strategy. I think will be a different things happening in the future. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Interesting. Very cool. And Curtis.
So I'm going to credit Don Mitchell here. My team was doing some research on this earlier this week about just some numbers behind AI. And interestingly, the business impact of 1 week of delay in delivery of 100 AI IT racks, which cost about $5 million per rack. The revenue generation of that is $75 million a week. Okay. That's pretty nuts. So add an IT refresh every 4 years, plus a new IT release every 2 years, doubling performance. Then optimizing construction and commissioning via offsite fabrication and pre-commissioning is going to become the standard. With all that in mind, I think in the race to profitability here, 1 megawatt racks
Yeah,
this year.
right. 1 megawatt racks this year. Crazy. All right. That's awesome. Very cool.
Anyone
All
already seen
right,
that?
here's my
Has
prediction.
that already happened, or we're still? It's still a.
No, we're still talking about it,
Well-
right? We're still talking about the 1 megawatt rack. I don't think
Yeah.
anybody's done it yet, right?
I haven't heard about it yet.
I know Dell had two that you could kind of hook together and you could get both, but I don't think there's a 1 megawatt rack yet. I don't know. All right, here's my prediction. Are you ready? Are you ready? I'm going to be a grandma in a day.
Yay.
That's my prediction. That's all I got for you because I know that that's kind of guaranteed. So my crystal ball broke a long time ago. So yes. So all right, y'all. I got to get to the hospital.
Congratulations, Amy.
Congratulations.
Fantastic.
Yes.
And
exactly.
we'll see all of you at PTC, yeah?
Yeah, PTC. Yes, it would be great.
Yeah.
Everybody, I want to judge all of you in your Hawaiian shirts. Like we're gonna have a Hawaiian shirt contest. I'll take pictures with all of you, and we'll like have the best Hawaiian shirt.
I thought it was floral Speedos this year. No?
Nice.
All right. I'm in.
You there?
Finally.
Let's do it.
Waiting for somebody else to bring it up.
Right.
John's the only brave one in the group. He's like, yeah, I'll have my Speedo on. Ready to go.
All right, y'all have a good week. We'll see you next week.
Congratulations, Amy.
Congratulations.
you.
Thanks, Amy.
We'll see you.